So, hey, Camilo.
Hey, Steph, how's it going?
Yeah, good, man. Thank you so much for giving a bit of time. The whole point of this video is basically to kind of like look back to a sprint we have run together. It was what in August 2023, right? Last year.
Yeah, it was August. Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple of months ago, and it was a super exciting sprint for me because you guys are in San Francisco, and it's not all the time that someone like in Switzerland like me has the opportunity to work with a startup like yours. It was all remote, but I felt it felt really like a special experience, and I think. What's so interesting about what you guys did is that you went super fast, you moved super fast after the sprint. So yeah, I think it would be a great opportunity to show all of this to our audience because people like concrete, real life case studies. So thank you so much for making it for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. My pleasure. My pleasure. And yeah, for us also was quite amazing experience. Being able to basically come from a bunch of ideas, a bunch of requirements, like multiple challenges that we were trying to resolve, putting a different stakeholders in the same room with different backgrounds, different skills, and going through the process that, to be very, very honest, at the beginning of the process, I was like, so many ideas, so many things, so many
Yeah.
different like opinions, and seeing how the process helped us to like synthesize those ideas, to structure those ideas, to then see those ideas visually into the
Mhm.
design that your team did so well. To then later like presenting like the prototype to customers, getting really good reactions from the customers, to later actually implementing it. It was quite exciting. And something that I want to like also like mention is I remember when we start the design, you told me like Camilo, it's better to resolve just
Yeah,
two
yeah.
problems. But our need at that moment was kind of designing like a very
Dashboard.
big, very big
Tell-
suite of like
yeah.
tools and features. And and of course the pushback was super helpful
Yeah.
because we were able to like actually narrow down a little bit more, but we
Hmm.
still remain very ambitious,
Yeah.
very ambitious. And we reached the results that we wanted, and we were able to like design it, implement it, build it, and right now it's getting really good positive
Yeah.
feedback
This is
from the
awesome,
customers and
man.
from the users. So yeah, I
So
appreciate that.
you know what? Let's get to all of this in detail. I think in a kind of like a chronology. I think it's very cool if we start from like way back. Maybe before we even start, could you introduce yourself?
Yeah. So my name is Camilo Ramirez. I work for TeraWatt Infrastructure. I am currently the head of product of the company. And what we do is literally we are building charging infrastructure for big fleets. Yeah, big fleets in a lot of cases, like trucks, but we also work with like light duty as well. So that's basically what we do. But we integrate a lot of different elements. So we integrate the infrastructure element, which is having the land, building the sites, putting the sites there. But we also integrate the technology piece, which is basically managing all those chargers that in
Mhm.
order for those chargers to operate in a good way, you need the technology to maximize their usage and make sure that they are achieving the necessary uptime that the industry requires, right? Additionally,
Mhm.
we work with fleets, right? So
Yeah.
our technology needs to be fleets focused and fleet friendly. And that was part of the challenge that we were working with you is like how we built our technology so the fleets that we're working with, they can see it in a way that they understand it. They can
Yeah.
see it in a way that is like relevant for them. Yeah.
What is so interesting is that with you guys, American, I mean, in Europe, we are big on electric vehicle because it's important, right? But you guys, you go full speed and big scale. Like it's not about having electric cars; it's about having trucks and fleets of trucks. It's about having impact. So yeah, that was for me. I was quite humbled by the scale and boldness of the project. So yeah. So maybe can you tell us more about like what was the exact challenge that you had at this point of time, right? We started to prepare the sprint. It was what in June, July. The sprint was in August. And so you had that challenge and you needed something like fast. You wanted to move fast. And also how you have assembled the team to have the right folks on the team. And I think that was key for this sprint.
Sure. So the challenge that we have is the technology, the user interface of the technology that we had, of the portal that we have, was very old school, to say it in some way, had a lot of opportunity to improve, but also the UI was not focused for the customer that we serve. Yeah. It was focused for a different use case, right? Mm-hmm. So when you were seeing it, it was useful for someone that wanted to like suffer a little bit by using the UI, but it was not user-friendly. It was not the use case friendly. Mm-hmm. So the challenge that we had was like building a customer portal that was relevant for fleet customers in order to observe or monitor a charging operations, right? So basically, that was like the use case that we needed to resolve, and that was the problem that we tried to like bring to the design sprint. And as you can imagine, this involved not just one feature, but multiple screens.
it's super complex, and I mean it's this kind of challenges we have them with a lot of sprint, right? There is a tool that's already existing, it already delivers value, it's being used by hyper technical guys, but most of the time it looks like Excel, or it could be even worse, like command line somewhere like in the software. And we need to translate that useful tool and data into something that can be used by a lot of people, a lot of customers. And that one was also, I mean, it's always complex for us, a sprint, because it's a new field. And, you have your own technical jargon and all of this. And we need to, in a couple of days to get fully into the topic. And I think you guys did an amazing job to onboard me. So I really felt part of the team, and also you were always explaining, okay, that's how we do things in the industry. I think before joining the startup, you were working for a trucking company or something like this, right?
Yeah. Before I joined TeraWatt, I worked for like a freight tech startup as well. And before that, I also was part of the product team of Uber. So I have plenty experience on working with fleets, basically. Yeah. Like working with fleets is something that I know. And to deep dive a little bit, because I think it's really relevant on part of the last question that you have, is like the team that we put together was a very cross-functional team, right? Mm-hmm. So it was like a operations expert with very, very, very strong experience on how to like repair and work with chargers, but that doesn't have a lot of experience in terms of technology, right? A sales person that knows deeply the freight industry, but at the end don't understand. You just dream. This is possible. Everything is possible, right? Yeah. And of course, part of the software team, the front end developer, the back end developer as well. So we can put together their brains in terms of what's possible and what looks nice and what can be developed. And I think that was very relevant, because at the end, the fact that they both were part of the sprint facilitates a lot the implementation. Yeah. I guess we are going to go into the implementation later, but the implementation was fast thanks to that they were part of the sprint as well. So that was one of the keys of the success of the sprint. And of course, the product team, 3 members from the product team were there, and we involved sometimes we involved the CEO, and we involved like also like different people. The CTO at that moment as well. Mm-hmm. So it was like a very cross-functional.
It was big. It was very important. Yeah, it really felt like a special moment. And one thing I've noticed that you guys in USA, especially when you're a startup, you have like the techies, like the IT people, like front end, back end. You live with them. They are with you physically.
Yeah. The tech team is a core part of the team here, right? So
exactly.
They are a core part of what we're doing. It's true.
Is it okay for you if we look at the mirror board of the sprint? Like you will tell me if you want to cut anything, if it's under NDA, right? But we just look at it because I think it's so interesting to see how it went and basically what we had during the sprint and what came after. Yeah, if you are watching this and you don't know what I'm showing you, it's basically a board on Miro. So Miro is a virtual whiteboard, and we have a specific template for a design sprint. So it means that when you run a sprint with us, At the end of the week, you're going to have your full week in here. Day 1 of the sprint, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. Each column is a day. And you can see the progression of the sprint. And it ends with the prototype and the tests. User tests are here. So maybe I'm going to zoom in here because I think it's kind of cool to see. It doesn't look like much, but basically we were super proud to have that on day 3 of the sprint. And actually, it's really like, that's the concept that won. So it's just, we call that sketching. It's really like rough sketches on paper, but it's enough to compare different approach, the dashboard, like how it will work, to talk very deeply about the concept, about the core ideas and the way we could build it. And it generated that discussion. And finally, we aligned on this one. And Danielle, as a decider, she picked this core concept with 2 ideas that were this one and this one that will make it part of the prototype, right? So that's day 3. And people are scared at this point of the sprint because they're like, oh my God, like it's Wednesday, we have that. And we have to show something to the testers on Friday, right? Were you scared or not?
I've been part of other design sprints, not with a third-party company, internal designs.
Yeah.
So it takes longer for you to run this process, to then later actually put it together, to then later prototype it. So I have doubts at that moment, to be honest. It's like, oh, it's 2 days, and I was like, and we need a lot.
This is the thing. People, they're like, at first they're like, oh, 5 days is going to be way too long. It's never going to work to invite people, that they will make time. They will focus long enough, like during 5 days. It's a lot to ask. But where you are in it, you're like, oh, wow, it goes freaking fast. And that's a lot of work, right?
No. Even to be very transparent, for me, 5 days was like not a lot of time.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Knowing the project that we wanted to resolve and knowing the challenge that in front, it was not a lot of time. But yeah, it could sound like a big commitment in theory, in terms of time. However, I will say that the results at the end pay the time that you're investing and way more, to be honest.
Yeah. So this is basically the sketching. And now I'm going to show you what we have here. So basically we worked in Figma, which is a design software. And that's what we had at the end of day 4. So basically that's the whole prototype that we had. Got several screens. We knew exactly what we wanted to test. And if I can show it, this is like the working prototype that the testers got to test at the end of the sprint. So basically you can scroll, you can click on the blue areas here, and you could switch. Maybe you will tell. You can explain to us what we are seeing, but we can switch between dashboard and map. And then we had that whole insights part with a lot of very complex things that I don't know what it is, but you will tell us what it is.
Yeah.
So that was our concept, right?
Yeah, of course. So like basically this is a single glaze pan, like a single pane of glass view of like a charging site, right? So you're seeing all the chargers. And then in this case, we're seeing all the vehicles that are plug into their chargers and the progress that they have in terms of a state of charge. So that's what you're seeing here. Mm-hmm. And if you click in one of them, so you will see the detail of like the charging session itself. So this is very nice to see this prototype and to see how similar is what we ended implementing here. And we still have to implement a little bit more of things to improve, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it got me very excited because I saw that you guys published a case study like a couple of months after. It was end of November, and I saw it and I was like, oh gosh, I could recognize the prototype that we had created, right? And I was like, oh wow, this is live already. It's so exciting. So you will tell us how you've managed to execute. What I would like to add about this is that the prototype you get might look good visually, but there is no real data behind, right? It's just like mock-ups you can click through, but you can't really use it with real data. But it's usually enough to, like we build the whole test scenario. We have 5 tests at the end of the sprint. So the real customers are discovering this and they tell us what they like and what they don't like. And back to this, we had 6 actually, because you guys run another test afterwards, I see. But during the sprint, we had 5. And I'm not going to go into detail of this, right? But we had important people for you because they are actual customers who tested the solution. And what you can see here is that we had about 12, 15 business hypotheses, very important one that we wanted to validate. And for each test, what was working well, what could be built, and the red parts were like, this is not working, we had to address that. And what's interesting, what came out at the end of the tests is that this part, the map part, the fleet management was a big challenge for a lot of reasons. It was maybe a bit too cluttered, too complex. There were too many things. And I think at the end of the sprint, we've collectively decided, okay, let's start with this and this, right? And this is like maybe later. And I guess you guys did it, right?
Yeah, we implemented as well because like the feedback was it was confusing. Dashboard map, the concept of dashboard map was a little bit confusing for them. And the fact that here you have all the chargers at the right was also a little bit confusing. So it was okay to have the fleet vehicles in the left, but not that good to have the chargers. However, in the visual that you have here, dashboard, I think like people mentioned, this is clear, I like it, it's useful. So it was a very clear winner in terms of implementation.
Yeah. So I think my part was basically to bring you to this point, from like your big challenge to aligning on one concept, creating a prototype, and testing it in 1 week. And now I would like to hear more from you about what came after the sprint and what you've managed to build, and how it went.
Sure. I think like what came after the sprint was keep sprinting, but in terms of developing, I will say that there were crucial things during the sprint that allow us to implement fast, right?
Okay.
First of all, that we have a very clear vision of what we needed to resolve, and that we were able to have a very good customer insights, and that we listened to those insights, and that helped us to prioritize what to build fast and first. That's the first thing. That the second thing, as I mentioned, the fact that we have the people that then later was in charge to building the solutions in the sprint help a lot to the understanding of what needs to be done, right? Because you can build a PRD, you can build a Figma design, you can build a lot of things, but the reality is that being part of the design sprint facilitated in their mind, they already knew what needs to be done. Yeah, they can read the PRD a little bit, they can go into the Figma, but they already knew what needs to be done. Yeah. So that helped a lot. And at the same time, during the design sprint, we were, Danielle, me, and the engineers as well, we were prioritizing ideas that we knew that were feasible in terms of the data that we had. Yeah. So when like the different team members that were not close to that area of the company start like bubbling ideas that were great ideas, we take very like disciplined notes about those ideas, but we didn't try to push those ideas because we knew that idea will take a lot of times of developing. So we were kind of scoping at the same time that we were designing. So I will say that that was basically what came after. And then just like building it, working with them, iterating with engineers, and later like testing with customers.
There's one thing that's so powerful about the sprint, stressful, but it's the time constraint. Basically, you have 1 day and a couple of more hours to build a prototype, and it kind of scopes naturally what you really want to have in the prototype and what you can't, because it's too complex, it's too big, it's never going to work. And it helps you to keep the things quite lean, even if the initial challenge is vast, is huge, right? Did you have issues to convince like your top management to move forward, to start building, or they were on the same page? And was it helpful for you to have that prototype?
No, I think like the benefit as well is like we have previous alignment, right? Like the alignment was clear even before we start the sprint, right? So we knew what we needed to do. We just needed like the design and the validation from customers. So once we got the real insights from validations and from the customers, we shared this with the executive team, and the executive team was like, "Good, let's move forward." So it was not a big challenge. But I think like the reason it was not a big challenge, it was because it was a pre-alignment on the need.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's something I see a lot in Europe. Is like the teams, they know what to do. They have a great prototype. They have all the green lights, and then they spend months to assemble slide decks, to go to the pilot committee, and to talk to the board, and it makes it very hard in general. So, but the sprint really helps because it's so tangible. You know, it's not you don't come with a couple of slides or a spreadsheet. You come with like an actual prototype. You can click. It's gonna look like that. Look, click, 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 and yeah. What was striking also about you is that the week after you were already asking me some assets, like how did you design that image? Could you send me this icon and stuff? And I knew that you guys were actually building it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and again, it was because of that. I think like based on my experience on like making these things fast, especially in a startup environment,
Yeah.
I know that if you don't have pre-alignment at the executive level, so then you lose time
Exactly.
in that moment. And I knew that the result that you guys were going to provide was a very good resource to then later just like, okay, this is it. Let's move forward. So it was like the conversation was already like prepared in some sense.
Yeah.
And of course, the resource that you guys shared was super, super helpful to just like check that conversation and start implementing. So it took us like maybe like 3 days of approval.
Wow, that's awesome. Can I ask you one thing? Is like the sprint was remote, right? It was all online. Was it because just of me, because I was far from you, or because I know you have offices in San Francisco, or are you a remote first company and it's your normal way of working?
No, we are a hybrid company. So we have some people in San Francisco. We have some people in different places of the US. So the design was like virtual or remote, not just because of you, but because of the structure of the company.
The way it works.
Yeah. I will say that I feel that it was very well prepared. People were really well engaged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of course, you have mastered the process of doing this design.
Thank you.
So I've seen the clock back there. That was one of the elements of our daily sessions. And people were really engaged, right?
Yeah.
And something that I want to bring as well is like also like for me was positive, like the music, the energy, trying to bring people up because. Let's be honest, like having 5 days connecting into a computer, you need to have a good attitude in order to like move people forward, right? So you guys were encouraging that good attitude and the team was responsive as well. So I think like the remote will work pretty well.
Did it feel natural for you to work with someone like me from the other side of the world? Like I don't even speak well English, right? Like was it okay for you? Like why did you pick us in the first place?
The quality of the work that you guys presented. I think like when I start looking into different potential partners, when I start looking into your like case studies or the information that you have public, I start seeing like a really good quality of design, right? When I start engaging with you guys and having conversations as well with you, I also see that quality of design translated into a really professional and a structured communication process. Nice. You know, it was a good flow. So I guess that's the reason we picked you guys. In terms of like working with people in different regions, yes, I'm used to that. When I was working at Uber, I work with teams in Europe, I work with teams in Africa, in Australia, and I'm from Colombia. So I also work with people from Latin America as well. And my English is also not a perfect English, so we are on the same page.
Better than mine. Cool. Is it okay to show us like what you guys built after the sprint? So I know most of it is under NDA and there are a lot of things you can show me, but
sure. Let me share my screen. All right. So basically this is the screen that you guys saw in the prototype. That's the one that is summarizing all the chargers that are managed by the system, right? So here you can filter based on sites. So in this case, we have 2 different sites, like a central warehouse and offsite location. So you can filter if you want to see only one side or if you want to see all of them. As well, you will be able to see here like the different like chargers that you have and the active charging sessions that are happening at that moment. So as you can see here,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Wait, you're going too fast. Is it on purpose? Wait. All
Yeah.
right.
No. So, for example, this is the progress of the charging session. I want to make sure that this is a demo environment. So that's why you are seeing like the charging graph so stable because it is a demo environment. So this is being basically like simulated, but this is actually has fluctuations in the real in a real scenario. So this is showing like basically the progress of the charging session. This is showing the details of the charger. Here is showing the details of the particular vehicle. And here you can also take like remote actions on the charging session. So for whatever reason, you can stop the charging session or you can start the charging session. You can reset or fully reboot the charger as well. So for example, if the charger is not connected with a particular vehicle, you can come here and do the soft reset or the reboot. And let's imagine that in this particular charger, a vehicle is connected there, but it's not charging. We can also like start a charging session remotely by just like doing it from here.
Yeah.
So this is quite a good UI, and people has been very, very like satisfied by what they are seeing.
And you know what I like about UI is that, you guys just brought value. You focus on what was important, but you didn't, like the icons, it's still the icons from the prototype. I remember I was designing that TeraWatt charger, and it's still here, right?
Yeah. This
awesome.
is everything. We use. The design was really good, so like we like it a lot. It was a very good look and feel, so we use it, right? And again, I don't know if you remember, but in one of the like the interviews that we had with the prospects, where like this looks amazing, but it's taking too much real space of my screen, right? So for those cases, we just have like a clean.
That's cool.
Clean table view, right? For those that have like a very engineering
the whole fleet
mind, right? So we also have and as you can see here, so you can also see the charging session here as well, like the progress, and you can also have the actions here.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it is like a very, very good UI in terms of like managing, and it's very, very fleet focused. So that's great. I want to jump into I don't know if you have anything that you want to follow up or any questions here.
No. I mean, it's awesome because I think it's so key to be able to listen during the test, like about what people like, but also what they don't like and what they challenge. And you've just solved it, right? Sometimes, we need to work on iterations of the prototype and all of this, but here I don't even think you even did it because you were actively listening and you took good notes, and that's it.
Yeah, the thing is like and this is something that may sound cliche, but the reason we exist is because of our customers. But we take that seriously, right? We take that seriously. It's like we are building experiences for the customer. So the most important thing is the customer experience. And if the customer is telling you, I've been in multiple scenarios where the customer is telling A, and the team internally actually they may mean B. Is like, well, they're telling you A.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You have to listen.
So I think it's important to like listen with good judgment for sure, but it's very important to listen. So another thing that I want to show to you guys that we also built was the fleet dashboard. And this was the second iteration of our development process. So here you guys won't be able to see like the vehicles because we are not simulating the GPS location of the vehicles, but we are simulating the rest. So this is the charging site. This is all the chargers. This is all the vehicles that belong to the fleet. This is the one that is charging, and you can see it here. The same. You can go and see the progress of the charging session. You can take the same remote actions, but with a fleet focused view. So basically, you have all your vehicles in the left and in the case that the telematics is integrated to the system and that the GPS location, so you'll see the GPS location of the vehicles all over the map, which again is a very fleet focused solution. Additionally to that, here we are using ML models to predict a couple of things, which is how long it will take for you to like complete the charging session, and also how many miles that car can run with the current charge that you have, which is super, super useful for a fleet manager that is looking into this and taking decisions into like, oh, I need to charge, I need to move the vehicle, like when is the right moment to do X or Y. So it's super, super useful. Yeah. So again, you are not seeing the vehicles there because we're not simulating that part. But this is also part of the design that we work with you guys that time.
Yeah, this is dope. And actually, I know that you have like the full version that's working for the clients, the customers. It's just you can't show it because it's actual data from the customers. So that's
We cannot expose PII information from the customer. So yeah, this is working already for customers, and the customer is already like being able to use it, and they're super, super happy about it.
This is awesome. So wait, the sprint was like what, end of August, and when did you give the first version to the customers? Like,
actually, it was quite fast. The first version to customer was released by end of September.
Oh wow, the very first
was
version
quite fast. And the fleet model was released by, I believe, was like end of October as well. Okay. So it was like we sprint.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
We continued sprinting after the sprint.
Yeah. That's cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And the last part, which is not less relevant, but but that at the end is just basically the reporting piece. And this is we have been this is the reporting piece that we have for the demo environment, but our reporting piece for the production is also like a little bit revamped, has a little bit more information, but we are not simulating the data because of the efficiency of simulating data. But this is our reporting here. So basically the amount of chargers, the energy that you're using, the number of sessions for a particular period of time, also the number of sessions that happen on a particular day, and what is the average of the session duration, which is super relevant for you to understand how you are managing your operation, the energy that you're using on those particular days. And here, just like all the details of every single charge session that happened. Again, I want to make sure that this is not just what we have today in production. This is what we are simulating. Right now, we have a little bit more of information, fleet focus within our dashboards. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you know what? I have to tell you that I've seen a lot of sprints, right? Since it's 8 years I'm running sprints, but it's very rare that I see a team going so fast. And also, you know, what I love is that you went challenging what shouldn't be challenged. You just went all in to build the right thing, and you were super pragmatic, reusing the right part of the prototype and just building and giving it to your clients as fast as you could. And I think it's what most teams should do, right? But sometimes because of politics, because of like, but we need to build it with SAP or whatever, then it takes forever for no reason. So yeah, I think it's so cool to see a case study like yours.
I think it's all about the team, you know, and also the experience. It's experience of like have been slow multiple times because of multiple reasons. So I think it's like pretending that you as the sprint facilitator is going to resolve all the problems that we have across the company is unrealistic. Yeah. So it's like, what are the risks that may create friction in the development process? And are those risks, can you mitigate those risks even before the sprint, right? And can you have the right people during the sprint? And can you start like moving the things towards the right direction when the sprint it's over? So I think that's very relevant. And again, without you guys, we won't be able to achieve these, but it's very important to understand that you won't be solving all the problems that the company has.
No,
right?
no, please no.
Right?
Okay, I have one last question for you. How important was it to have an external facilitator? Because you guys are really tech savvy, you are very smart, you know how to build product. I mean, the book of the sprint, it exists. You can buy it online on Amazon. So why you didn't want to run your own sprint, and why you thought like, maybe I'm going to call Steph?
First of all, we don't have a UX design expert within the company. we can have a design resource, of course, and say, hey, design this, and that, but we don't have a design expert within the company. So that's one reason. But the second reason, again, is like running a design sprint is an art.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It's not simple. I have run I have been part of multiples in my life. This is the first time that I do it with a third-party facilitator. And what that brings to us is fast results. Mm-hmm. When you do it internally, because of the notion that you have the resource forever, mm-hmm. sometimes it takes longer. It takes longer. So I think it's like the fact that we didn't have a design expert within the company. Second, the recognition that you are the experts and the subject matter experts on doing this and with a proven record, right? And the third thing, we needed to go fast. And so I think that was the main reason. Yeah.
I think you are so right. It also gives me the power of saying, okay, guys, we need to move forward. Let's not dive into that rabbit hole. Let's I can keep the rhythm because I have a mission is to bring you where I want so that we can prototype and we can test. And we have that agenda. And also I can compare with so many sprints. And I know exactly if the team is struggling or if the team is good. And you guys, there was that raw energy. I think also what you guys had that some teams don't have is that you really helped us prototyping like to a very deep level. And because sometimes, they're like, just looking at us getting hardcore prototyping. And here you are really like all in. And I mean, it shows in the result of the prototype and how actionable it was for you to follow up after. So awesome. Yeah. Camilo, thank you so much for sharing all of that with us and to show all of this. And if you want that I will hide anything, of course, in the video, it's going to be blurry or it's going to be cut.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Steph. I appreciate your help and the time. I'm looking forward to keep partnering with you, actually. We may have a couple of projects that we need to work, but yeah.
I'm here. Call me. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.